You can take back control of your mind, but first, you have to go through the chaos. In the first 24 hours without my phone, I discovered something no one ever told me. It's not just discomfort, it's withdrawal. And that scared me more than I expected. It felt like something was missing all the time. A constant emptiness, like I'd forgotten something important. The truth is, I wasn't missing anything specific. I was addicted to distraction. And that changed everything I thought I knew about my relationship with technology. The plan was simple: spend 7 days without a phone. But within the first hour, I realized I had no idea what I was getting into. My hand kept going to my pocket. The black screen stared back at me. It was like trying to take a deep breath underwater. I started feeling physical restlessness. My thoughts were racing. I got up from my chair for no reason, pacing back and forth. I kept trying to remember if I had something urgent, something pending. But there wasn't. It was just my brain, screaming for dopamine. On the second day, things got worse before they got better. I tried reading a book, but I read the same paragraph 10 times. I tried meditating, but my mind felt like a busy supermarket. Noisy, messy, impatient. I felt real anxiety, and for a moment, I considered quitting. It's funny to think that a piece of glass, metal, and plastic has that much power over us. But it does. The phone crept into everything. Boredom, loneliness, breaks in the day. Whenever reality got a little too quiet, it was there to fill the void. But something strange started happening around the third day. The anxiety, which had been unbearable at first, began to slow down. I no longer felt pulled by phantom notifications. My hands stopped reaching for my pocket. For the first time in a long time, the silence started to feel comforting. Not empty. Full. I started noticing things I used to miss. The sound of the street, the texture of food, the way light came through the window. These weren't new experiences. But they felt new because I had stopped paying attention to them. I was always too busy. Always divided. And that's when it hit me, the phone wasn't just stealing my time. It was stealing my presence. I was everywhere, except where I actually was. I realized that, for a long time, I hadn't been using my phone as a tool. I was the tool. I was serving it, responding to vibrations, messages, feeds. Every buzz, every notification was a command. And I obeyed. The weirdest part was realizing that even without the phone, I still thought as if I had it. My brain had been shaped by years of constant distraction. That doesn't disappear overnight. But over time, it starts to slow down. Around the fourth day, I started thinking more clearly. It wasn't some magical switch. It was a gradual process. But I noticed I could focus for longer periods. I started writing better, sleeping better, enjoying simple things more, like having a face-to-face conversation or going for a walk with no destination. You know what's wild? I discovered that a big part of what I thought was lack of time was actually lack of focus. I had time, I just couldn't use it well because I was always interrupted, always jumping from one thing to another, like my attention was on a string. By the sixth day, without even realizing it, I spent an entire afternoon without thinking about my phone. That had never happened, and it was freeing. The peace didn't come from some special place. It came from the silence, from the pause, from the absence of constant noise. Of course, not everything was perfect. I missed listening to music, using GPS, talking to some people. But in the end, what I lost in convenience, I gained in awareness. And that's worth so much more. On the last day of the challenge, I went to a park, sat on a bench, and just stayed there watching people, dogs, the wind in the trees. Something so simple, but a week ago, I would have filled it with a video, a story, or endless scrolling. That's when I understood, living without a phone isn't the goal. The goal is to take back control. Because it's not about disconnecting from the world, it's about reconnecting with yourself. Technology isn't the villain. The problem is when it takes over every little space in your life. The problem is when you can't be alone with your own thoughts. When silence feels scarier than chaos. Life doesn't happen on a screen. It happens while you're distracted. After this experience, I went back to using my phone. But with a difference. Now it has a time and a place. I uninstalled a bunch of apps. I turned on focus mode. And most importantly, I created phone-free zones during meals, before bed, in face-to-face conversations. I learned that I don't need to be available all the time. That I don't need to reply instantly. That nothing terrible will happen if I don't check my socials for a few hours. And the most surprising part is that the less I used my phone, the more time I had. Not because the day got longer, but because I stopped wasting it in invisible pieces. Today, I feel more present, calmer, more aware. And it all started with one simple act: turning off my phone. It sounds easy, but it's challenging. Because it means facing discomfort, boredom, silence. But it's in that space that you rediscover your own mind. If this made sense to you, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who could also use a break from the screen. I'll see you in the next video. Until then.